Hello YouTube, Red Suit Studs here. Today I've donned my clone armor because we're going to be unboxing, building, and reviewing the LEGO Star Wars Republic fighter tank, as well as comparing it to the older 2008 model. So without further ado, let's get started. So here is our box for the Republic fighter tank. Comes in at 262 pieces, you can see here. And I'm kind of surprised that they were able to get this build down to that size, because the previous fighter tanks were either something like 300, 400, 500. So they really were able to do a lot with a little here, it seems. So here we have our Ahsoka Trooper here in the bottom left here to denote that it's a Clone Wars set. And on the back here, we can see how it shows kind of the play features with the wheels and the missiles and kind of the bay door that opens on the front of the tank there. And there's not much going on the box overall, since it's not really like a 18 plus set or anything. It's just kind of it's more aimed towards kids, this set, so they don't really go too much into the packaging, which I feel like that's usually more reserved for the adult sets. So this one, it's pretty standard here with your minifigure on the side and all that stuff. But yeah. One more thing before I continue with the video. I know you all know what this is. I've hidden a LEGO Minikit somewhere in the background of this video. Let me know in the comments where you were able to find it. Alright, so before we get into our final build of the tank itself, let's just do a quick overview of all the minifigures that are involved in this set. So to start off, we have Battle Droid. We get 2 of these in this set, and it's the same mold that we've been getting since 1999, so nothing too different there. However, I noticed that with this Battle Droid in here, The gun, or the blaster, is actually kind of a different color than the usual blaster that we get. So here you can kind of see side by side. I don't know if you can tell on camera there. There's this one's more black, and this one's kind of a gunmetal gray, and it has a little bit more of like a shine to it. I don't know, but it's a little bit different from the other blasters. So I guess that's kind of a cool addition to the same minifigure we've been getting since 1999. Kind of have something a little bit different. It's a little bit of a color difference on the blaster, but not too much of a difference there. So here we have our 187th Clone Trooper. This is Mace Windu's Legion of Clone Troopers, as you can tell by the purple on the torso, the front and the back, on the legs, and on the helmet. And this isn't really any different from other Clone Troopers that we've gotten in the past couple years, other than the purple markings. It's the same mold for the helmet and print for the chest and legs and everything, just with that different purple color to it. And this is the first set that they've been in, the 187th that is, and so hopefully in the future we might get some other rare clone legions that haven't really been represented, because we've had kind of the yellow and the orange, the red and the blue kind of all shown off, but there are plenty of others that haven't really gotten their day in the spotlight, so hopefully we get some other rare clone troopers shown off in some later sets. In addition to our two 187th Clone Troopers, we also have our 187th Clone Commander here, and he has a different helmet as well as a different torso print. It kind of has extra straps on the legs and the chest here, and they also give him a blaster rifle instead of the smaller pistol. And then we have the different helmet here, which I believe is like an airborne trooper, which I think we got a similar helmet in General Grievous's Starfighter a couple years ago with the yellow markings, but this time same mold, just with the different purple markings. But I like how they give the commander this kind of rifle here, and I like how they're using this nozzle piece more often now for clone rifles, because it looks a lot more like the actual blasters they use in the movie than just the rifle without the nozzle on. So I really like how they're making those weapons more screen accurate there. And we see with the battle droid pistols how they're making them a different color too, so I feel like they're putting a lot of effort and attention to detail in all the different blaster rifles and pistols and whatnot in Star Wars, which is great. So last but not least, here is our Mace Windu minifigure. And you can see he has some exclusive arm printing here with the clone armor, as well as some of the leg printing with the clone armor. And the purple lightsaber here, it seems that LEGO has been recently doing sets a little bit differently with lightsabers, where the pieces won't be like a transparent kind of color. It'll be more like a filled in, thicker, like frosted kind of appearance, it would seem. And I liked how they did the old lightsabers, but these aren't bad by any means either. It certainly wasn't a downgrade or anything. I think it still looks pretty good. And then I remembered that, well, Mace Windu is bald. He won't have a face print on the back here, because that might look a little weird since he doesn't have a hairpiece or hat or anything to cover up a second face on the back of his head. So just one face print on this minifigure here. Alright, so here we have our final build of the Republic fighter tank, and I actually had to move my base plate because, as you can see, this set has wheels. So in order to show that off, kind of had to move the base plate. But the wheels that they use are kind of the small ones with kind of the double tread there, you can see, and it moves a lot better than some of the previous fighter tanks that we've had, I think. Some of the other features here, we have kind of the swiveling arm cannons with a spring-loaded shooter here. So you flick that and it shoots out. And then we also have a kind of a gunner's seat that you can take a clone here and put them in there, and they kind of man the cannons there. And then here we have kind of the bay door for another minifigure to go to pilot the tank. And then also around back, you kind of have a ramp to kind of have a character come out the back here as if they're exiting the tank. So some of the pros of this set, I think, they used some really unique pieces here. They kind of used like this fencing sword for the antennas, which I think was a really cool way to kind of do the antennas on the gunner seat there. And then they also used this kind of rounded plate here for the cockpit of the gunner's seat, which that's a unique piece I've never seen before, and I think it works really well as a kind of a rounded door to close off the gunner's seat. And then here we have this kind of cockpit piece or door that closes off the pilot's seat, and I think it's a good piece to use. However, in the way that they have it on here, I feel like it just looks a little weird with this bump here. I feel like if they could have figured out a way to have it kind of nest in here and have the flat part coming down there, it would have looked a little bit better. There you can kind of just see a crude kind of placement there. But I think if they were to nest it kind of in there a little bit more and kind of have some of this kind of covered up, I feel like this nose piece would have worked a lot better. So not so much a con as far as the piece they use, I just think how they used it could have been done a little bit better. And one of my other problems with this set, I feel like they just used a lot of stickers, and pretty much anybody who builds Lego a lot knows that stickers are kind of a curse, because if you put them on wrong, they just look horrible and they're really hard to get off without messing them up. So all this is stickers here, some stickers here, here, on the side here, on this. So really the only place you don't get stickers is kind of around back here. But all along the front you have a lot of stickers. So I know for a 7+ set I shouldn't expect a lot of printed pieces, because those are more expensive for Lego to make, and stickers are just kind of easier. But just all along here and all along here, it's just a lot of stickers, I think. So here I've brought out my 2008 version of the Republic fighter tank, and here we have the 2022 version on the right. And there was also a version in 2017. I never picked that one up, but I think that one's pretty comparable to this version as far as size. But you can see between these two, 2008 is definitely bigger. So just to show off some of the similarities and differences between the two fighter tanks, you can see that this one also has a good amount of stickers kind of here. The two sides, there's a little bit back here as well, but I think this one overall has less stickers than the newer version, which is preferred in my book. And here you can see that for the antennas, they used kind of longer pieces than those fencing sword pieces on the newer version, which I think the longer ones look a bit better, while the new ones, I think they used a really cool piece to show off that part of the tank with the antennas, but I just like that these ones are a little bit longer. And then in the back here, we have kind of the same feature with kind of that door that opens up for the characters to walk out of. However, I think they kind of went above and beyond here, because you can see in the back there's kind of that red pin stopper there that kind of works in tandem with this piece right here, because what you can do is you can push down whoever's in the cockpit there and push that in there, and that holds them down with that red pin connector there, and so you can close the top, and then when you want to kind of send them out into battle, you can open up the back and they pop out. So I think that's a really nice feature that's kind of missing from the newer version. Well, it's not necessary, I just think it's a really cool feature that they did add on to. And you can see here with the older version, it moves pretty smoothly. It doesn't move as far as the other one. I think that kind of has to do with the kind of wheels they chose here. They're kind of the bigger, thinner ones, so they don't really get as much traction or distance, but they still move fairly well, maybe just not as good as the new one. And then we can also see here on the side, there's kind of these pieces that flip over here with some flick fire missiles. So that, I guess that's kind of comparable to how they have the spring-loaded shooter on the guns on the newer version. But speaking of the guns, it has the same kind of functionality where it rotates, but you can see here they kind of have a gray pin that stops it from going after a certain point. The new one just kind of has complete free range of motion, but this one, it stops at a certain point, which is a nice feature to add on there. And then we can also see, kind of similar to the new one, we have kind of that front piece that opens up. However, in this one, it kind of looks like it's like an engine or some ammo, not any room for a minifigure in there. Although I guess if you did take out kind of those green translucent pieces, you could fit one in there. But I guess it's not the main purpose of this set. And then we also have some cargo compartments on the side, so if you want to put a blaster or two in there, we have some on both sides, so just if you want to put some extra pieces kind of in on the side there. And then unlike the newer version, we also kind of have a turret up here for the gunner, And so with like all those playability features, like with the guns here, and then you kind of have the missiles that come out. They're concealed when you want them to be, unlike the new version that has them kind of out in the open on the bigger guns here. And then you have the storage and everything. I feel like that this version, the 2008 one here, it did everything that the new version did, just a little bit better. And so for that reason, I kind of think that this one is the superior fighter tank. So in conclusion here, I feel like our 2008 version is kind of the definitive one. If you had to pick one fighter tank to get, I think it would be the older version. However, that's not to discredit the newer version, because I think they definitely win in the minifigure category, because having these 3 exclusive clones as well as a Jedi and a couple battle droids in to boot, I feel like that the newer version definitely wins the minifigure category, because here we just kind of have our 2 clones, and even though they give them some accessories, I feel like the minifigures are definitely better in the newer version. But definitely the older version kind of does everything better as far as the actual tank is concerned. If you enjoyed this build, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for next time, where I'm going to be unboxing, building, and reviewing the Death Star trash compactor set. Thanks for watching.